Jeffrey Dahmer was one of the most notorious American serial killers and sex offenders of the late 20th century. Born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin in 1960, Dahmer had a troubled childhood and showed signs of disturbed behavior from an early age. As a child, Dahmer was quiet and introverted, often retreating into his own world. He was diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, and later suffered from depression and anxiety. His parents' marriage was also strained, with frequent arguments and instances of domestic violence. As Dahmer grew older, his behavior became increasingly erratic and disturbing. He exhibited a fascination with death and mutilation, often collecting animal carcasses and performing crude dissections. He also became increasingly isolated and began to indulge in alcohol and drug abuse. Dahmer's first known murder occurred in 1978, when he was just 18 years old. He picked up a hitchhiker named Stephen Hicks and took him back to his parents' house. After a night of heavy drinking, Dahmer bludgeoned Hicks to death with a barbell and buried his body in the backyard. Over the next several years, Dahmer continued to commit increasingly brutal and depraved acts. He would lure young men and boys from marginalized communities to his apartment, often promising them money or alcohol. Once there, he would drug them with sleeping pills and strangle them to death. Afterward, he would often engage in necrophilia and dismember their bodies, keeping their organs and body parts as trophies. He would also photograph his victims before and after death, creating a macabre collection of images. Despite his increasingly erratic and violent behavior, Dahmer managed to evade detection for years. It wasn't until 1991 that one of his intended victims managed to escape and alert the police. When the police searched Dahmer's apartment, they found evidence of his crimes, including human remains, a collection of photographs, and a severed human head in the refrigerator. Dahmer was arrested and charged with 15 counts of murder, and he later confessed to committing a total of 17 murders in total. Dahmer's trial was a media sensation, with details of his crimes shocking the world. He was ultimately found guilty and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. While in prison, Dahmer underwent psychological evaluation and was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, schizotypal personality disorder, and a psychotic disorder. He expressed remorse for his crimes and even became a born-again Christian. However, Dahmer's newfound faith did not save him from a gruesome fate. In 1994, he was beaten to death by a fellow inmate in prison. Dahmer's crimes continue to be studied by criminologists and psychologists today. They serve as a reminder of the darkest aspects of human nature and the need for vigilance in identifying and preventing violent behavior.